how well this video is going to come out, but with all the moon tides, as the moon gets bigger and bigger, the tides get higher and higher, and what it does is scoops up all the seaweed off beaches if the winds are blowing right. So we've had some pretty windy days, and the floating seaweed with the wind, it all kind of pushes up together in gigantic seaweed plumes. And this is just absolutely crazy how much seaweed is floating up on the beach right now. I mean, this goes all the way down, and it is just absolutely, I mean, it's got to be, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 inches tall here. And I pulled out some buoys and firewood I found in it so far, but I mean, this is going to be, if this stays on the beach tonight, it's pretty late right now. It's going on like 11 or 12, so I don't really have the energy to scoop this up. I also didn't scoop up what was left from today's seaweed plume because it was raining and stuff, and I've been trying to work on my garden shed to get that completed, because this is all going to get you know, scooped back up with the tide. So honestly, hopefully it floats up and stays up. It should be a little bit of past. Should be right around. I'm just kind of show you where the tide's going to approximately be. It's over a 10-foot tide, so it's going to come up to right around this area here. You can see little skrills from what floated up last night. I did end up scooping that up, but that's the daytime tide. So we have this huge seaweed plume coming up, so that'll be fun. There we go. Okay, this is a follow-up from last night with the seaweed plume floating up. You can see the tide came all the way up, you know, up pretty high up into the dune grass over here. But there's just, you know, a lot, you know, unfortunately a lot of that seaweed that was floating up last night floated away, but you know, obviously we still got a lot of seaweed here. A little after 9 a.m. We're still in July. Today's actually my 1 week out on the island this trip. This is my second trip this year. But this is what I mean by rollover. See how the seaweed is now buried in the sand. That is super hard to get out. So I'm just gonna pick at it. I'm not gonna bother trying to dig the whole beach up to get this, you know, little bit of seaweed out. There's another roll over here, and it is just, you know, it's basically just like solid, you know, rocks and seaweed and sand and crushed shells and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of straggler seaweed on here too, which a lot of it will push up during this tide. High tide's in about 5 hours, I think. So I'm gonna try to get this cleaned up before high tide. I don't necessarily have to clean up like a pile like this, you know, before then, because this is a lot. I mean, you can see how deep this is. I mean, there's like, you know, geez, what do you think? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably 5 or 6 wheelbarrow fulls just in this one pile here. And there's soda bottles, there's trash, there's buoy parts, there's, I don't know, what's the piece of styrofoam. It's basically just, you know, trash that people, you know, either flies out of their boat, it falls out, or breaks loose from, you know, something. There's lots of options where stuff comes from. These all floated up last night. I pulled out as I was going, part of a buoy, a whole buoy almost, a little float and a bucket cover, couple sticks. These sticks came, I actually got a couple of armfuls of sticks out of it last night. Nothing super huge, but I mean, you know, on the island there's no resources, so any kind of wood I find is definitely a score. I did find this 2x4 here also last night that was floating. So there's a lot of seaweed. See if I can zoom in instead of walking over there. There's a lot of seaweed sitting on the beach down there that will get picked up with this tide that's coming in today. So I gotta get to raking.